This way.
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Online. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So just wait for the time to.
Sure.
You could ask how many first timers do we have here?
Yeah. It's online, so they can hear how many people are here. Hello and welcome. Today we have a Global AI Bootcamp 24. It's the event organized globally around the world. In many cities, you can check out the official page. Many of those events, as this one, is streamed online, so you can see a lot of interesting sessions organized by community, for the community, sharing the knowledge on the different topics. So today we have two sessions. First one, we switch the order. First one is mine, Azure AI Studio. And after that, Simona will hold a session on LLMs and integration for the next generation applications. After that, we will have meet and eat and mingle, as we call it, right? There will be some pizza and meeting other people. So, Azure Skåne, I checked today, we have 1,400 members on the meetup, which is really nice. Thank you all. And it's all about learn, network, and have fun. So we gather here usually once a month. We organize some meetup, try to get some interesting speakers to share some knowledge, to connect. It's all about connecting and exchanging knowledge, experience, and having fun. Behind this are 5 people. It's Negar, Nikos over there, Magnus and Michael hiding behind the wall, and me. We are organizing this, and you can follow us on the LinkedIn page. There is Twitter or X nowadays, right? And it's on the YouTube. If you are sharing on social media, please use hashtag Azure Skåne, A without the O on top, circle, however you call it. Sorry, I'm not Swedish, so no idea. Please share so others can see it also and potentially join us. Thanks to our sponsors, Vuksic, allowing us to be here and organizing everything to stream online, having food and drinks, and Capiche. Next event. Yes? Sorry. Capiche.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Anyhow, welcome. So, what does capiche mean? Perfect. And how do you say it? You do capiche. That's us. We're a software company located 100 meters in that direction. We're here in this central station. We use growth database technology to explore scientific data and find hidden relations between data objects. Right now, we're not looking for a particular role developers, but if you want to work with life science a little bit more, please go to website and apply and send your resume. Once again, nice to see so many people. Yeah.
What do you mean by life science?
If we take our growth database, it's a generic, general purpose tool, but we have applications for clinical data, we have applications for preclinical data, and also some medtech applications. Okay.
Great, thank you. So next event will be on April 19th, Global Azure. Also some interesting sessions that will be announced soon. So please check our LinkedIn or Meetup page and feel free to join. If you have some idea to share the knowledge over here, please reach out. We have this sessionized page, Azure's ongoing call for the presentations, so you can jump in and hold some presentation here, but also feel free to reach out directly. It's easy to schedule, and we always look for the interesting speakers, for the new topics, learning something from the everyday work and such. We have a Discord. If you want to join that, you can scan the QR code over there. Michael is doing a great job on the Discord, sharing a lot of news regarding Azure and regarding what is new, the trainings, certifications, and things like that. So feel free to check it out if you like the Discord. Okay, so let's get started with the first session. And guess who? It's me. So Azure AI Studio is the topic of the first session, and it is a new thing still in preview, released last year in July. If you worked with AI services previously, they were kind of scattered all around Azure. You had to go to different places, connect them and such, and we've all seen that AI is developing now really quickly. Sorry? Yeah, please. So AI is developing pretty quickly nowadays, and of course, Microsoft is trying to follow up that with developer tools to make one central unified workspace where developers and AI scientists can work together. But interface such is pretty simple to use, and I will show you that. And even though if you are not a developer or AI scientist, you can still try it out. As I said, my name is Goran Vuksic, originally from Croatia, moved to Denmark 9 years ago. 5 years ago, moved here across the bridge to Malmö because of weather, right? No, weather is same, but I still miss my sunny hours from Croatia. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I work in IT industry for some 20 years, and usually some topics I share about are AI, IoT, and Azure, of course. And I'm active community member, usually sharing my knowledge in different conferences and such. So I have this recognition being a Microsoft MVP for the AI. And what I share my knowledge about, what I do in my free time, are those kind of funny robots. I like those movies with lightsabers, where people fight with lightsabers, right? And I try to build those kind of robots and to build them in a way that they move, they have some cameras installed so they can do some computer vision, where my passion is, and to interact on the world around them in some way. And I go to conferences, showcase this, teach other people how to do the same. For example, this is the last project prototype I'm working on, pretty popular duckling nowadays. If you've seen that robot from Disney, I'm trying to make some kind of replica and integrate over here with computer vision, for example, like when I show it a hand like this, it will turn the light on. There's a small light on side, turn the light off. I can say, look at here, and then it will detect my finger and position the head in specific direction, turn it like that. So a lot of fun stuff. And as I said, today we speak about Azure AI Studio, but me, being Goran, I had to do it with a bit of splash of my favorite topic. And do we have any product owner in the room over here? No? Great. Then I can joke about it, right? In this session, we will wear the product owner hat. And who is the product owner? Product owner is a person that wants all the latest and newest features done yesterday, but since that's not possible, they should be done today, end of day, right? And that's the popular definition. But the thing is, like, product owners, they have their stakeholders, and stakeholders want, product to be up to date, to be there on the market, something that people will use and pay for it. And the thing is, nowadays AI is making a lot of buzz, right? And a lot of stakeholders wants to see this happening in their products. And Microsoft has this research that for any dollar you invest in the AI, $3.5 will return back. That's pretty good ratio, right? So it's interesting. As a product owner, we have our product, bit rough on edges, but that's our solution. It works. It's there up in the cloud, right? And runs on Azure. And we'll see how through this story we can enhance it with AI features. What we can do with that. So AI Studio, as I said, it provides this unified experience for AI developers and data scientists. Imagine as a single centralized workspace where you can build, evaluate, deploy AI models, and use this nice web portal for it, or you can use SDK or CLI. You can access it on ai.azure.com, and when you open it up, you'll see a page like this showing you some inspiration, like discover what you can do with AI, showing you the latest news about it, and some other information. Of course, to use it, you need to sign in. And if you don't have an Azure account, like, you can register for free and get 200 credits to use that. So in AI Studio, everything happens around those 4 tabs over here. First, we were at the home. That's how our home looks like, pretty much for the inspiration. Build is where we start, where we are creating our first project. Beside that, we have Explore, where we can have a look at a lot of AI models out there that we can start using basically immediately in a matter of minutes. And we have also Manage, that allows us to manage our project, like how we want to use it, how many instances we are using, VMs, and so on. We will see those options soon. So at the moment, our workspace is empty, and we want to create the new project. Clicking new projects, we need to give it some name, and we need to create a resource where we want to use this. Clicking create new resource will allow you to create new Azure AI Hub resource, define in which subscription you want to run that, define the resource group, and location. Over here, I picked the Sweden Central as the location, but you need to know that not all services are available in all locations. For some services, such as computer vision, you need to define it, for example, in US East or West, and so on. So when you are starting, like, try to decide, like, which location should you pick to make it work. But later on, you can also adjust some things. I will show you that. And we see a quick summary. Clicking the next, we press create an AI project, and what is happening now? We see that things start spinning, and over here we see a list of things that are getting created. We will have AI project, AI hub, storage account, key vault, application insights, and log analytics workspace created for our project. Earlier, all those things you would go to portal.azure.com and create manually over there. Then you would start implementing and connecting those services. So just a few clicks, and over here it's created. And once created, it will look something like this. Now, recently viewed items. This is how it looks like. I'm not showing you this part live for the reason those steps take 5 to 10 minutes maybe to get those resources created. We will switch in some demo at a later point. So pretty easy to set it up. And here, if you go to portal.azure.com, you will see those services created over here. Application insights, log analytics, and so on, right? What was there in portal, it's automatically created over here. You can go back here and administrate that. Now we go to the Explore tab. We created our project. We want to deploy some models in that project and start using the models. And Explore, as I mentioned, there is a lot of models we can use automatically. And over here, you can see there are models from Azure, but also from Meta, Hugging Face, NVIDIA, Microsoft Research, and so on. So like one big catalog of models, and each of those models has pretty good description showing you what it does, what kind of input it takes, what kind of output it will generate, and how it will work. You can also filter it by, I don't know, you are interested in translation. So you will select an option, and then you get only the translation models. Or over here, I selected image segmentation, and I got 5 models over here. This is Microsoft AutoML, something from Facebook as other options. This repository of models will grow quickly, and Microsoft will be adding more and more stuff, allowing you to perform any AI tasks you are interested in. I will select AutoML. And first I see the description. As I said, detailed description, what I'm able to achieve with that, what kind of JSON I can send to this model, what will the result be. That's the usual description. In some cases, when you work with the images, for example, there are also examples like how that image will look like once it's processed, like what kind of data is displayed, and so on. So over here, I just click deploy. And I have an option to create real-time endpoint. So this model will be deployed. And I will have an endpoint where I can use it immediately, right? So clicking here, it will ask me a few more additional things before it gets deployed. To run, it needs the virtual machine, VM, right? And from the list, you can select some virtual machines which are currently available or suitable for that model. It will offer you how many instances you want to run. For this model, it suggests like if you want to run it in production, you need 3 instances. Since I'm cheap, I said, okay, 1 is fine. It's $1 per hour. And yeah, I'll create the new endpoint, how it will be called, and clicking the next. Things will start spinning the second time. You will see this provisioning state that it's creating, updating, changing some statuses until it gets into succeeded. So this is the point where our model is deployed, and we actually can start using that model. And in our deployments, we can see our model, and here we have 5 tabs. Details that we just seen, test. We can even test it through the web interface, so you can send the JSON and get the result back from the test. You can consume it over here. You get the endpoint, you get the keys, and you get the code as examples. JavaScript, Python, C#, R. So basically, you can take this code, copy paste it and run it with few small modifications that I will show you now in a demo. So basically, like going into portal and copy pasting that into our code. So consume, that is the model I was just showing, and here is the example, like how it looks in the JavaScript. Ah, sorry. Up, up, up. No. How do I switch the screens here? How do I switch the screens? Now it's on the PowerPoint, but that is yeah, okay, we'll do it like that. Just give me a second, please. Pop up. Okay, this needs to go here. So I was saying we got stuck there on the slides. Consume, we get endpoint, we get the keys, and we get the code examples that we can use immediately. And now I will use the Python example. With I'll make just a few small modifications. I'll explain. So basically, this is those comments lines are something that I added that I will uncomment in a second. This is the code that we get. We get example data JSON that we are sending. URL is already there. API key is missing, which means we need to switch into our portal and copy that key. Sorry, it's a bit funny this way. Okay, so we need the key, and the thing is, when we are sending image, we want to analyze the image with this model. When we are sending image to the model, we need to send it in the base 64 format. So I need to import few libraries over here. And the thing is, we will load it from the URL to make it simple. So we define some URL where the image is. Switching to browser. This is the image. Our employee is doing nothing, so some notification to HR would be good. Okay, we filled it in, and now what we need to do, okay, we are getting this image from the URL, converting it into base 64, and we need to fill in this part that we want to send our data as image from URL, and index is 0. We filled in the key, and this should process the image. Running line 46. Yeah, saving would be good. Thanks. Loaded the image, gave us some result. If you scroll back, like somewhere at the beginning, what is actually this model is giving us is a bunch of annotations. You can see that it took the image, and over here, Can I move like this? No, I cannot. Then I'll do it like this. It's giving a bunch of polygons. But over here, we can see that it found some person, right? And score 98% sure that that is a person in the picture. I'll show you in the later examples, but you've probably seen how the labeling, annotating of images looks like image and draw some box or some polygons on that image, how this works. All right, quick. That was a quick example. Just a second. We were here. Good. Quick example. So, still wearing my product owner hat, right? I can implement AI in 5 minutes. So tomorrow, before lunch, I can have a bunch of features. So let's dig deeper into it. One of the great things you can find this quick start in Microsoft documentation, how to use the chat. I'm not a big fan of large language models, but still being able today now to communicate with our machines and with our data with a human language is something like really amazing. You most likely know that joke when wife sent husband to buy milk and said if if there are eggs by 12, and he came back with 12 milks. Right, because he was developer. But the thing is, like, there's many research nowadays that technology is changing the way we think and way we interact, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should keep our natural language the natural language, right? And just the machines to work in our favor to understand what we are asking for, and what models are capable of doing today. It's pretty amazing how good they can understand us and generate some text that really makes sense and give us the answers to the questions. So quick walkthrough for GPT-4 with GPT-4 Turbo with Vision. I'll show you examples here. So we can, you can deploy this model in the browser and select mode chat, select the deployment. At the moment I have enhancements off. I'll show you the options later. And you can start chatting with your AI assistant that has instruction that it is AI assistants that help people find information. Okay, that's what we said to it. And now we have this option to upload the image to our chat. We upload some crashed car and say, describe this image. And what we get out is that, okay, this shows a white sedan car that has been in an accident, front of car is damaged, yada yada, license plate is visible, this is the license plate, and so on. So one nice story about that picture. Pretty impressive and interesting if we look at that. And we can also ask it, like, what should I highlight about this image to my insurance company? And it will give you the simple description, like, okay, describe date and time. I cannot extract this from the image. Describe location, weather condition. It figured out the sky is clear. What is the damage to the vehicle? Provide a detailed account of the damage to your vehicle. We'll keep it in mind for later. So it gave you some structure, like how you should write this document and give it to your insurance company, which is pretty nice. Now let's enhance this. We do the same thing, but we turn on enhancement of the Vision, Azure AI services. AI Studio is a top service that is using all those different services. I'll show you a few later, and can bring in their capabilities into its environment. So we enhanced our model, and we do the same thing, describe the image. And now our image gets processed with computer vision. We get exact things like if we select bumper, we will see the bumper. If we select the guardrail, it is over here, right? So it is referring to image, okay, what is exactly going on here, and making the links in between. And if we ask the same questions, what should we highlight to insurance company, it will give you a bit more clear information like front bumper is partially detached, indicating a forceful impact, and so on, right? Pretty good. Let's take it forward. We can also, in the same way, upload the video. And now with this video, we will ask, provide details from this car accident video, but in the system message, we are telling our assistant how we want this to be structured. And we say extract detailed information about car, make, model, damage extent, license plate, and so on, right? And this is the result. Car make and model, it's Toyota, damage extent, right rear side, there are significant scratches, and so on. So it analyzed the whole video, figured out what's happening in this video, and created a document that you can basically take and give to your insurance company. And for some insurance claims, like this could be really game-changing. Because you could, we were wearing here hat of a user. Okay, I crashed my car and need to apply to the insurance company. But many companies out there are, which are renting cars, renting bikes, renting scooters. You probably know when you rent a scooter and you return the scooter, you need to take a picture of it, right? To send that it is parked correctly, it's really there where you parked it, and things like that. So it's something that you can immediately process, get description, and understand where your fleet is, no matter is it cars, bikes, scooters, and so on. GTC was yesterday, and I took this one from Jensen. GTC is huge NVIDIA conference. You can check online if you missed the keynote, was 9 p.m. So these 3 days they are announcing a lot of great things there. A lot of advancements in AI, new bigger graphic cards, and so on. But this slide was super cute to me because, of course, it's NVIDIA. They'll put a lot of thoughts in how to prepare the things. And what Jensen said there, this is where we were in the few years back, right? So we trained some AI model. We took an image of a cat, and it gave us 3 letters out from that. It wrote cat. And we were like, wow, this is amazing, right? But where we are nowadays is the opposite direction, right? We type in 3 words in cat, say that to an AI model, and this is what we get out. And here I showed you a bit of text. We tried to analyze some image before that, but we can also deploy some vision models. Switching the screens. All right. So I have another project where I deployed the stable diffusion model, and over here I can immediately click consume. Sorry, not consume, it's in the test. Beside consuming testing, you can monitor and check the logs over here. Stable diffusion model is for generating images, what I just spoke about, right? And now we want to generate some image. Typo. Not sure at which screen should I look like. Right? It knows what stormtroopers are, fully equipped, ready to go. I told you it's running on Azure, right? So, but the point is, like, you can easily take any kind of model from the catalog and deploy it in your environment. You don't need to send your data somewhere else to analyze it over there, ask some other system to generate picture for you or whatever. You can do everything in your environment safely with your data, and that's the beauty of it. And moving on, we said AI Studio is sitting on top, and you can easily access other studios from the drop-down menu. And over here, there are several you can use. I'll show you the few of them. For example, the language studio, maybe not our users speak the same language. We would like to translate our application in several languages. We can make it speak in other languages, have chatbots in other languages. Basically, nowadays, it is a matter of hours, I would say, to get your business globally, right? Previously, like we had this maybe some challenges going globally, but now it's super easy to translate the website, to organize everything, online distribution, whatever services you need, and to sell your services globally. So Language Studio gives a lot of those examples. Some of them you can immediately try them out, as you can see over here, or some of them it will point you to the GitHub where there is sample code. You try it, deploy some services, and try out this code. So, for example, with Language Studio, you can detect language, you can extract PII, personal identification information, like is there some personal numbers in that, get the key phrases, link entities, and create a lot regarding the text itself and in different languages. Speech Studio, also great fun thing to try out, getting this speech to text or other way around, text to speech, generate the voice, multiple languages, multiple different voices, and so on, integrated directly into your applications, so maybe there is no need to type things and only use that as an interface, changing our ways of interactions with machines, what we are used to in previous many years that we always need to type, but we can use audio, which we maybe with the introduction of the home assistants in the past few years, we figured that out. So it's easier to yell, Alexa, do this or that. We also have a Vision Studio. I really like this one. I told you, computer vision and stuff like that. Extracting information from the images, like adding the caption, detecting some objects, and many other things. But it's not just about images; it's also about video nowadays, and it's really nicely connected. In a few clicks, you can process the video and get some information out of it, right? So, quick example. I am here in the Vision Studio. Those are the examples that I can try out, click, check the code, and so on. And I want to create video retrieval and summary. Over here, first one is what I uploaded. Over here we have some media, industrial, retail examples. For in retail, you could count the number of customers in the store, count the number of people standing at the cashier, like how long is the queue, right? Figure out some customer behavior in the store. In the industry, you could check many other things, like okay, is someone really needed to be here to fix the servers or what that person is doing. And the way you work with it is you get API, you upload some video, same way you do it here in the web interface. So this is some video that was uploaded. I'll pause it so it's not distracting. And takes, I don't know, minute or two maybe to process this video, to get information out of it, to get the indexes. And now with the standard human language query, you can search through this video. So what I'm, for example, interested in, are there some droids in this video? And it went through the indexes and figured out the exact timings when droids are showing. So they are over here, right? If I scroll anywhere back before them, you'll not be able to see them. So they are appearing over here where it's marked. Pretty easy to analyze, like some security footage, like, okay, what is happening? Like, is someone jumping over the fence, or is someone in some area of factory where there shouldn't be? There's no need to have someone sitting in the front of CCTV feeds for the 24/7, right? Trying to look at that, because in the end, there is some person sitting with 10 monitors around and looking around that, and how much information that person can notice. We've all seen it in the movies, how easy it is to avoid those cameras. But the thing is, like, pretty cool. And some other awesome things, like here in the Vision Studio, OCR, we almost forgot about it nowadays, right? We take it as accepted, it works. It took so many years to get it to work, you know, and just to extract this text from the picture. Nowadays, it's pretty simple. I'm sure that all those things we are using now with AI in 5 to 10 years will be taken as granted, you know. Now we are riding this wave. AI is making a lot of buzz, but yeah, soon we will have to change the way we develop in the end. So spatial analysis, like counting people in the area I mentioned in the store, or detecting when people cross the line, monitoring social distancing, right? Detect when people enter, exit the zone, face detection, figuring out faces, image analysis, a lot of things over here, recognizing products on the shelves, searching photos, sorry, and many other useful examples. Each example you can quickly try out, get the code, put into your application, connect it over there on some API, and it will work. Spatial analysis, right? We don't want some person messing in that area of factory. So that was it from me, giving you a quick introduction to Azure AI Studio. Simona will follow up. We'll take a short 5-minute break if someone needs to go to toilet. I forgot to mention that toilets are down at the end, this way, just to also switch computers over here. But if there are some questions, I'll be happy to answer that. Yes.
So you were searching for drones, and you got some frames for there were drones.
Droids. Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the slide you showed before, where you were typing the extract.
Yeah.
So is the AI capable of reading the situation?
So situation would be like, just a second, let me exit from here. Is this one visible? Should be. Okay. Still a bit of challenge here switching the screens. So let's take the same scene, and the situation would be what? Explosion.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, I guess a situation could be they are approaching a trap, or they are yeah.
I typed in explosion, it's showing the explosion, right? So I could try, we said danger. I'm not sure would it, I mean, we can try trap, but not sure how I would interpret which parts of the, yeah, trap, it says some kind of trap over here, because, yeah, there's shooting, I guess.
What I'm looking for is, of course, it's reading a specific frame, I guess, and
Ghost frame.
it is looking for specific information in a specific frame. But of course, it would be very interesting to have an AI looking into complete sequences of a movie and
You can do that. And you can even ask it like, you can provide it few frames, I've seen example, few pictures of the football, like what's happening, and ask what's next. And it will try to guess like, okay, that was the player movement, and like now it will shoot on the goal. And that was example. Maybe it's a bit, as some examples are nicely polished, you know, it works with those frames, but in general, how this works, it runs through the video, extracts the frame, and gets the key information out of it. So for this one, it would know there are some persons, they are wearing helmet, they have guns, there is some action, violence, some tags like that, and that's how it's indexing the whole video. And then with the natural language trying to interpret like what are you looking for, give you some results there. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, I'm wondering how much does it cost to access if you try to develop something locally? Does it still access the API in Azure?
But
OpenAI costs like
you have detailed pricing per service. I suggest you check that out. For example, for that when I was publishing my model to have my virtual machine, it costs $1 per hour, right? That's the cost of running my in that case. But some other model might be more heavy, require more resources, so you need to deploy a bigger GPU that will cost, I don't know, $5 per hour or something like that. So now I'll look at Simona. Does she knows detailed pricing on the things? Yeah. Yeah. But all information is there, not like costs you get in all information, so feel free to check the services and pricing, like everything's listed. Any other question? Yeah. Gold. Which one? This? How it works in the back? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. The minute and a half, I think, minute and 20, something like that. Yeah, you can upload long videos, but do pre do pre-processing before. Pre-processing. So you don't need to stream your video to the cloud. It will cost you a lot. Like it's a huge video, right? But for example, nothing happens over the night. So you just need to cut it when there is a movement. You know, when there's movement, then maybe analyze those pieces. It that's a way to get costs down like quickly. It will take frames, figure out what is in those frames. I don't know. It's looking your living room. Cat, dog might be running around, figuring out the things that are visible, and then going through the whole video and creating those indexes. And when you ask a question, it will answer it back. Like, when did my dog run around the house? Then it tries to find the dog and also the motion when it's running around and things like that, when it was eating food or something like that. Yeah. I'll be here after in the pizza and mingle break, so feel free to ask more questions. Now we need to switch to the second session. Also, feel free to connect. I'm on LinkedIn, and thank you for your attention. with second session. Welcome, Simona. Thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Simona is Microsoft expert. She will introduce herself. Basically, she knows everything about LLMs and
Sure.
all those fancy Azure stuff. So all the hard questions, feel free to ask in the...
Thank you. No pressure.
No pressure. Okay, may the force be with you. And
thank you. Yes. Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Simona Toder. So I'm working as a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. So what I'm doing on a daily basis is working with different companies, work with different partners and customers, and help them build solutions on Azure or migrate to Azure. Kind of anything cloud related. Since AI exploded, of course, most of the requests are around AI and how do we integrate AI into our solutions? What are the best practices? How to get started? What are the main challenges? And yeah, a lot of discussions around this area. And I wanted to demystify a little bit what would be the approach on integrating AI in your solutions. Because the first approach that everyone has, it's like, hey, I want to train the model with my data. And yeah, that's the natural response coming from people that have been working with machine learning, training the models, and so on. But that kind of changed now with the LLMs. So it's a completely different approach, it's a completely different mindset, and you will see that you have a different approach when you are going to use LLMs in your application. So when we're talking about the traditional ML ops, so the main concern was, what is the right data set? How am I going to train the models? How am I going to make sure that those models understand what I'm asking for and provide the right information? So it was a lot of time spent on training the model. With LLMs, that completely changed, because you have the LLMs. They are very powerful. They can understand the language. They can provide a lot of useful information. The tricky part is making sure they are going to provide the right information, leveraging the data sources that you are going to provide. You will think about the quality, the accuracy, how you are going to evaluate the responses. So the focus kind of shifted. The assets that you have to share. Initially, we were thinking about the models, the data sets, and so on. Now you are going to think about the LLMs, what type of agents you are going to use, how you are going to structure your prompts, making sure that you are going to provide the right context to the LLM. So it's kind of different. So forget building from scratch and focus on leveraging what's already there and improving and leverage that build on top of it. So we kind of have this this built-in models. Do your best to leverage those and not try to reinvent the wheel. And I'm going to show some insights how you can play around with them and how you can make those models kind of do what you want them to do. Some of the aspects that you are going to consider when we are talking about LLMs. So you will need to think about automation, because you are going to play around with those models, with prompting, and you need to find a really efficient way to develop. So that's one part. Then the collaboration part. And here I'm talking mainly about what assets you have to think about, how you are going to do versioning control of all the components that are involved, but also how your teams are going to work. Because when we are talking about integrating AI in the apps, you will see that it's very easy to do the integration and have different tracks with different teams. So what I'm going to show later in the demo, you will see how we can create a ChatGPT-like experience, and you will see that we are just going to play around with the LLM. And it's very easy, once you've done that part, to integrate in your overall application. It's just an endpoint that you need to call. But the real work is when you are integrated with the LLM and how you are going to play around with the data. Then, yeah, making sure that you have a repeatable approach and being able to easily, test the model, test your scenarios and your solutions, and after that, yeah, doing the deployments and have everything in production. And it's not stopping there. It's not like, hey, I have my application up and running. You still need to think about the security part. You need to think about how am I going to monitor that solution and make sure that I get the right responses, the application is behaving as it's supposed to do, and so on. Yeah. So you got an introduction to Azure AI Studio. You will see that there you're going to find a bunch of features, and you will find more or less everything that you need to help with the whole life cycle of the LLM. So you will find the models, and that is going to be the first step. What is the right model for you? Then you're going to think about, hey, how do I integrate this in my application, and how to build around it. Considering the life cycle of an LLM, this is an ongoing process. And because the LLM is already there, you will need to think about how am I going to force the model to use the data that I want and provide the right responses. So you will see that you have this ideating part where it's mainly about figuring out what do you want to do? What do you want to solve? We see a lot of people, yeah, we want to use AI. Yes, but for what? You really need to identify what exactly do you want to do. Because once you identify the problem that you're trying to solve, it's going to be a lot much easier to pinpoint, hey, this is the right approach that you can take. So you are going to have a lot of hypotheses and just test it out. You need to think about the models, what was the best fit for you. And then you are going to think about what data sources do I need for this. And what are the prompts, what are the contexts that I want the LLM to use. Once you kind of figure things out, you will go into the building part. And here is mainly augmenting the model with your data. So you are not training the model with your data, but you are going to have the model using the data. So we are going to cover more in depth the Retrieval-Augmented Generation, and basically how you start with a prompt, with the input from the user or a question, and based on that, you are going to go through a flow and use relevant information, provide the relevant information for the LLM. And yeah, the evaluation, exception handling, so all these things that you need to consider. Once you are happy with the prompts, the context, and everything that you are going to, the flow for your LLM, you will need to deploy your application, right? And here comes the interesting part, because you need to take care of the operations. So you will need to make sure, we were talking earlier about tokens and pricing. So you really need to be on top of the cost management. You'll need to think about how you're going to do the deployment, how you're going to optimize that process. And there are a bunch of things that you need to have integrated as part of your operations. So going a little bit into more details, kind of what I mentioned earlier. So you have the ideating part where you identify the use case, connect your data, and start playing around with the model. Then you have the building part. So you start with a small data sample. You are going to evaluate these prompt flows and build on top of that. So if you're satisfied with if you're not satisfied with the response, you're just work on the context, work on the prompting, and try to figure it out. Once it's working on a small data set, you are just going to expand that and use with a larger data set and just evaluate it. So it's going to be an ongoing process, and especially if you are going to add more and more scenarios, if you are going to add support for new features, and you want to have more integrations in your solution. And last, yeah, the operations part where you actually deploy the endpoint, you integrate it in your application, have it in production, and after that figuring out, hey, monitoring security, responsible AI, and making sure that your application behaves as expected. So where do you start? First thing, as I mentioned, figure out what's the model that you want to use. What makes sense for your case. Then comes the real problem. Yeah, those models are trained, but they are not using your data. And the first thing that everyone wants is, of course, I want to use AI, but I want with my data. So how we are going to do this? There are two different ways. So there is the fine-tuning, where yes, you're going to train your model with your data. There will be some cases where, yeah, that makes sense, but I would recommend to try to avoid that as much as possible, because it's going to take a lot of compute power. It's going to be quite expensive, and there are a lot of things that you need to consider. And then we have RAG. We have the Retrieval-Augmented Generation, and this is what we're going to focus on today. So how you can design the right prompt and provide the right context in AI Studio. And we are going to focus on AI prompt flow. So it's basically a feature that will allow you to play around with the prompting and define that flow, test it, and see exactly how the model behaves. I will go into more details later, but I just wanted to emphasize it's just a feature that you would get with Azure AI Studio. So what exactly is RAG? So there are three main components. First of all is the retrieval part. So you have your data sources that you will want to use. How you're going to do that? So in most cases, you are going to use a retrieval solution. For this, we have Azure AI Search. So what do I mean by that? You are going to vectorize your data because you want to have a really efficient way of extracting the data that you want to get. And Azure AI Search provides a bunch of capabilities in that regard. So in most cases, you will see that we are going to use Azure AI Search to index the data. So basically, what's happening behind the scene? You are going to convert the data into a vector representation. So suddenly, it's not going to be words. It's going to be a bunch of numbers. And AI Search will be able to figure out, hey, if the user is asking for this word is very similar in the representation with another word, and this is a way to figure out this is the right response. I don't want to go into too much detail. We can discuss more if you want during the break. But the important part is use this way and vectorize your data so you can easily access it. So how exactly is it going to be done? Basically, you are going to take your data sources, and here it doesn't even matter what it is. So it's the same behavior for images, text, anything. You are going to vectorize the data. You will have that numeric representation of it. And once it's stored in Azure AI Search, you will be able to easily retrieve it. It will make even more sense once I get to the LLM part and how you're going to design the context. But for now, just keep this in mind. Some insights, and this is what I'm going to showcase later in the demo. So basically, what's happening, you have some data sources. You are going to vectorize the data. You are going to have that in Azure AI Search. So when a user asks for something, you are going to retrieve the relevant information based on the data that you have in AI Search, your data. And then when you are calling Azure OpenAI service, you are going to provide the relevant information. It won't be just the user input or the user question. It can be the question together with more information, or it can be a summary of that question together with other relevant data. So it's up to you how you structure that context and what you are providing to the LLM. Yeah, so an example would be, the user asks a question. Based on that question, you are going to have your knowledge base in AI Search. You are going to retrieve the information. Based on that information, you are going to structure the prompt and what exactly you are going to provide to the LLM. You are going to generate that context and feed it to the large model. The model will reply based on what you are providing. So it won't be just the user question. And based on that, you'll get the result. Yeah, so this is another example. So as part of the prompt, you have different information, right? So you are going to tell, yeah, you are going to frame how the engine should behave. So providing some information on, yeah, what type of personality the model can have. Then you are going to have the question coming from the user, and then you want to answer that question based on the data that you have. So that data will going to be leveraged and used by the LLM to provide the right response. Yeah. So in our case, and what I'm going to show you, we have this Contoso customer service chat. So Contoso has this outdoor website shop where people can buy different outdoor products. So what we want to do is provide an easy way for the users browsing the website and the products to get different recommendations on the products, or just being able to easy get the product that they want based on different requirements. So this is what we are going to work with today. This is the use case. You'll see that, yeah, there are going to be a bunch of use cases. And in some cases, it's going to be quite yeah, high risk, and you will need some input from real specialists. And when we are talking about patients diagnostics, you don't really want to rely on AI for that, right? But for some low-risk cases, like this one with the online shop or customer support or language translations, these are more or less built in, and this is easy implementable and easy to integrate in your solutions. Yeah, so how we are going to start? Yes, so I mentioned we have this online web shop. So we will want, when someone asks for, hey, I want some waterproof shoes to go on hike, we want the LLM to provide some shoes that we have available in the shop. So what's the approach and how to get started with it? So what we are going to do, we are going to embed the information about our products in Azure AI Search, and we are going to leverage it to provide the context for the LLM. AI prompt flow is the way to go when you want to play around with prompts and different contexts. It's quite flexible in manipulating the data and also testing, debugging, and see, hey, what's happening behind the scene. So this is what we are going to focus on, and we will basically start more or less from scratch and build that chat experience based on the company data and on the user information. I should probably provide a little bit more context about prompt flow. So you will be able to provide, to create these flows, workflows from scratch. And you have different components that you can add. So you will add the model that you want to use, connections to the different data sources that you want to use, input, output, and just processing the data that you are storing there. There are two important parts. First of all, you will need to define the connections. For example, the user information and the accounts of the users browsing the website are stored in a Cosmos DB. So you will need to add the connection to Cosmos DB. The same with connection to Azure OpenAI and so on. So adding all the connections that, to the data sources that you need, and then orchestrating the flows. So how you develop that flow, starting from the input of the user. Yeah, so here there are two different ways. So I'm going to show you how you can do it with the designer view. So we are going to start in the portal, but then we are going to shift to Visual Studio Code and actually do everything by code. I should probably ask how many of you are comfortable with code. It's going to be mainly Python. Okay, so I won't. Hopefully, I won't lose too many people. Yeah. So the transition and what's the journey for prompt flow, depending on your role, you will see that there are different options. So if you are not comfortable with code, you will be able to do most of the things directly into Azure portal. But as a developer, as an AI engineer, I want to be able to go quite in depth to understand what's happening behind the scene and try to do some debugging, see why the LLM provided a certain response, playing around with different contexts. So yeah, that part is quite relevant. So this is why I'm going to focus mostly on the coding part and what you can do in Visual Studio Code. But again, what I'm going to show you can do it either via the portal or code. Yeah, so we are going to take it step by step. So we are going to do the retrieval part, the augmentation, and then the full flow until you get the right response. Yeah, so let me switch to the portal so I can show you what I have here and just get started. First of all, I'm going to show you what I prepared in the portal, and then I'm going to show you how I've done that via code. I mentioned two main things that we are going to use. First of all, we are going to have the product information, and that I have as a bunch of documents with the product's description. What I did, I went to Azure AI Service, created an instance, and I added the documents there. How I did it, I'm going to show you via code, step by step, what I've done. But I just wanted to show you in the portal what's the view. So basically, I added the right index. I created Contoso products embeddings, and you can see I have 20 documents stored there, and it's just information about the products. That's one part. So this is information about the products. And then we have the users who have an account on our website. For this, all the information is stored in a Cosmos DB. So if I check here Cosmos DB, I added I added a container, and I have all the users that have an account on my website. So I have customers here, and if I check the items, you will see that I have 12 users, and here is John Smith, information about the user, and we can see the orders of that user. So we are going to leverage all this data that we have and provide build the prompt and provide the right context to the LLM. Good. So this is a first starting point. Then I wanted to show Azure AI Studio. And what we are going to play around with today is prompt flow. So if I want to create a new flow, you will see that you have different templates. For instance, if you want to do the evaluation of your flow and see how the responses are compared with certain criteria that you have in place, you have different flows there and different capabilities. So what we want to do is start with a regular chat flow. So we are just going to create that one, AI Bootcamp. So this is just a chat that is leveraging an LLM. So by default, you will see that you start with an input. This is predefined, but of course you can modify. So you have the question. This is going to be the input from the user. And then you have different outputs. So this output would be what the LLM provides you. And then we have the LLM and specification, how exactly we want that to behave. So we have the prompt. This is quite basic. So you're just a helpful assistant. You'll get the input from the question, and after that, just do the output. This is what is by default. But you can add more LLMs. You can add more prompts. If you want to run some custom Python code, you can do that as well. And we are going to build on top of that. So the designer, the graph view, you have the input where you're going to customize that. That input is going to be received by the LLM, and then the LLM will produce the output. very basic, nothing special here. We are not using our data, is pretty boring, right? Cool, so let's change that. How we are going to do it? So let me switch to Visual Studio Code, because I can show you exactly what were the steps that I took. Yeah, first I should probably explain a little bit the data part. So if I go, give me 1 second, if I go here, I have the data part and I have the customer information. This is the information about the customer. So I have 12 different customers. So I want all those customers stored in a Cosmos DB database. So what I did in order to do that, so I have my, yeah, I should increase. I'm trying to. Yeah, but it's not working. Yeah. Is it a little bit better? The thing is, because I will need to also show the graph, so it's that's going to be a little bit tough. Okay. Oh, that's definitely too much. Is that okay? Wonderful. Okay, so I have my connections to Cosmos DB, OpenAI, and everything in an environment. Yeah, in a file. I'm loading that file so I can access the environment variables. As you can see here, I'm just setting the endpoints and getting that information. So far, so good. So what I need to do, I'm building a Cosmos DB client. I'm instantiating that. I'm going to create the database. Then I'm going to create a container in that database. And then I'm going to get, yeah, so I'm going to get all the JSON files with the customers and basically inserting those items in the container. So this is more or less what I run in order to get all the data in Cosmos DB. That's the customer, and then the product information. So I have a CSV file where I have the information about the products. So I have tents, backpacks, a bunch of things. And I want, this is a small data sample, but this is where you would start, right? Cool. So what I want to do is I want to embed all this data using Azure AI Search. So what I've done, this is a little bit longer. So I'm importing all the libraries and everything that I need. Creating an index. So you will need to create an index, as I showed you in the portal, and you are going to create that index based on how exactly you want to extract the information from AI search. So you can see some fields I made them searchable, some not. So there are different configurations that you are going to define in the index part. Then you're going to create this semantic ranking. So you will need to have a semantic configuration. Defining the vector search, and here are different algorithms. So this is something that, again, you will need to think about in your ideation stage, where you need to think about how am I going to extract the data, and in what way would be the most efficient part. Once I'm doing that, I'm just creating the index based on the fields that on the configuration that I mentioned earlier. So that's the index part, but I still don't have the data. So what we are going to do there, we are going to get the Contoso products and put those into AI search. So I'm just creating an Azure OpenAI instance. And based on the products that I have, as in the CSV file, I'm basically structuring the data, and I'm pushing that. So I'm getting the products, I'm extracting that, and I'm just appending the items. Sorry. So I'm creating the index, and then I'm going to get the products, getting the search client, and then uploading the documents. I just wanted to showcase a little bit the fact that you can have this done via code, and this is a setup that you would need to more or less do once, and you can use parameters and have a easy way to do redeployment and get started. Cool. Let's move on to the prompt flow. So prompt flow is just an extension that you're going to add in your IDE. So if we check here, it's just installing, so nothing fancy, and that's pretty much it. When you are going to use prompt flow, let me switch to prompt flow. There are different setups that you will need to do, and the most important one is the connections. Think about this is your local development environment. So the connections that you are adding here are your local configurations. So you are going to have the OpenAI instance in cloud and so on, but the connection that you are adding here are not going to be defined in Azure AI Studio unless you add them. So you need to push those connections if you want. Anyway, so adding the right connections to OpenAI, AI search, I basically added all the information that I needed here. Cosmos DB, it's just a custom connection. So let's start with the basic scenario that I showed into the portal. So you have, if you want to add a new flow, you will see that you can have different templates. Let's say that I want a simple chatbot template and AI Bootcamp. Yes. So now if I check here, you will see that I have AI Bootcamp workflow, and if I open it, you will see a similar view with what I showed into the portal. So you have the input, you have the LLM part, and if I click on this one, you see it's an exclamation mark. So basically, I need to provide the right connection, which is this one. And information about the deployment for the project. I have both GPT 3.5 and 4. And then you have the outputs. The interesting part is this is UI, right? But I added a flow. So if I go to my flows here, you can see that it appeared and generated AI Bootcamp flow, and you can actually see this as code. If we check it, flow, you have the input, the output, and basically everything that we saw as a graphical interface. So you can easily do versioning control and have these definitions or the flows in place. Okay, so let's take it step by step. So let's work on the retrieval part. So I predefined these configurations because it would take me too much time otherwise. So I have the retrieval flow. Actually, let me move here. So I have the retrieval flow. If I open it, what exactly am I doing here? So as you can see, it's getting a little bit more complex. So basically, I'm starting from the input of the user and start. So I have the question from the user, and then I have the customer ID. I'm assuming since the customer is logged in on that website, I have the information which customer ID we are talking about, right? And I'm going to use this input and process that. So I have the input. Now I'm going to embed the question. So I'm going to have that numerical representation of the data. How you're going to do that? As you can see, I have a connection to Azure OpenAI. I'm defining the text embedding, and I'm providing as an input the question. I can run this step by step. So if I run this one, actually first, let me see if I provided the question. Yeah. So if this is going to be interesting. Yeah, so I provided here as a default value to not write every time. Recommend some tents for beginners. So I want a tent. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I want to buy a tent from that website. Cool. And based on that, I am running the question embedding. So let me do that. Yeah, it's running. Actually, I clicked run before. Yeah, so it's taking that question and just embeds it. You can see what is the input that it's taking. It's basically using the connection. We are going to use ADA embeddings, and then we have the input. The output, as you can see, is just a bunch of numbers, which mean nothing to me, but it will mean something for AI search. Cool. So we have the embeddings of the question. Then what we are going to do, based on that question, so the user wants a tent, we are going to retrieve data from our AI search from the documents that we have about our products. So if I go to retrieve documentation, you are going to see that we are getting the question as an input. We are going to use the index that we have in Cosmos, that we have in Cosmos DB, and then the embeddings. As you can see here, this is not so straightforward. It's not like, yeah, the flow will know exactly what to do. I'm actually running some code, some Python code, based on this information. So if I check the retrieval documentation, so I'm actually accessing the search, and I'm searching for semantic words, and I'm going to look for I have the docs as ID, title, content, URL, and I'm going to retrieve those docs. Based on the data that is being retrieved, AI search will provide information about the products. So if I run just this step, let's see. Yeah, so here is the input. So it takes the question embeddings and the index name for the Contoso products. And as the output, you will see that it's information that we have based on our data. So here, AI search retrieved, hey, the customer is interested in a tent, so it's looking for the tents that we have in our products. So if I'm searching, yes, let me see where I have the data. So products, if I search here, you'll see that found Skyview, it's a tent. So basically retrieved the right information based on the question of the user. So yeah, we have relevant data based on what the user asked. And then we want to also extract some information about that user. So what we are going to do, we are going to do a customer lookup. So basically, we have the customer ID. So we want to know some information about that customer. Maybe the orders are relevant, or maybe the user asks something in regards to his her orders. So we are going to do a customer lookup. Again, it's a Python script that I'm running. So what's happening? I'm just providing the endpoint to Cosmos DB, and based on the database and the container, it will look for the customer with the customer ID 7. So if I'm running this one, so the output of it it's going to be the customer information. So it takes input customer ID, and the customer ID we provided initially, and it's customer number 7 with ID 7. Let me go back to the lookup part. Yeah, and here I can see the inputs and I can see the outputs. If you scroll, yeah, you can see that it found the user and it retrieved the orders and all the information that we have for that user. Good. So what we are going to do, we are going to put all this data together and provide that as information for the LLM. So this is the retrieval part. Let's go for the augmentation. Basically, we are going to use all the information that we have and provide the right context. So if I'm going here. I have similar flow, so I have the input, output, and customizing that in different ways. So let me go back to the graphical interface because it's easier to see. So if I'm doing the augmentation, I'm opening this one. Oops. So it's more or less what we've done earlier. So we have the inputs, we have the question embedding. So we've done this part. What we are adding on top of it is the customer prompt. So we are going to customize that prompt with the information that we have. So we are going to use the information from the previous steps. So for instance, for the documentation, we are going to use the output of this step. For the lookup, we are going to use that output, and we are going to take into account the chat history. So how we are going to define the prompt? I use this template. It's if you're using Jinga, so this is an engine to help you with the prompting part. So here I'm defining, and I'm very detailed in what exactly I want to do. So initially it was you're just a nice assistant. Now you are an AI agent for the Contoso outdoors product retailer. As an agent, you answer questions briefly, succinctly, and in a personable manner, using Markdown, whatever. So basically, we are setting the scene. Then the safety part. You should always reference statements to search results based on relevant documents, and this is the documents that we are going to provide. And basically more instructions on how to behave and considerations. Setting the documentation, so the following documentation should be used in the response, because we want in the response to be information about our products, so our documents. And then also use orders and the information from the database about that user when you are providing the answer, because it might be relevant. We are providing some customer context because we want to, when it replies, we want to have an approachable manner and see, hey, it's a custom experience for that user. So we are going to provide information about the user, what's the first name, and basically retrieving all that information. So this is how you kind of define the prompt and feeding the information based on the steps that we've done earlier. So if we are going to check this step and we are going to run it, you will see that it's going to contain all the information from the previous steps following the structure of the prompt template that I used. Yeah. While this one is running, I can show you what you have as an input. So input is the documentation and all the steps, and then the output is the prompt template that I showed earlier. And here you can see it contains the relevant information. So initially it was you're going to use relevant documentation, and it filled in with the relevant, what would be the relevant documentation. So we are providing in this prompt all the information the LLM will need in order to provide an accurate and correct response. Yeah, so the last step that remains is using that output. So if I open the last one, so let me close everything. So if I'm going to show the full flow, I'm just adding one more step. So I had the customer prompt, what I showed earlier, and we are going to do the LLM part. So the LLM is just a connection. We are providing the right model, and we are providing the prompt. And the prompt is going to be, if you check here, the output of the customer prompt that we discussed earlier. So now if we are running this, you will see that it doesn't provide generic information. The response is going to be more tailored for that customer and for that user. Yeah, I already ran this, but let's wait for it. Yeah. So as you can see, the user will receive, hey Jason, if you are a beginner looking for a tent, I would recommend the Skyview 2-person tent. It's spacious, whatever, and it provides the details relevant for that product. So we kind of integrated the data that we had available about the users, about the product. So it's leveraging our data. Once you are done with it, it's basically pushing it as a deployment in Azure AI Studio, and it's going to be just an endpoint. As you can see here, I didn't talk about the actual website or the actual application because I don't really care. That's the developers that can take care of that. So I'm just providing the endpoint. You just call it, and that's it. You are going to get the right response. Yeah, this was more or less a little bit over time, but questions, and I hope I didn't lose too many people. Yes. Yes.
I've done the same thing, but not in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
I stored my vectors in something called a storage account, but I've also tried Cosmos. Right now I have around 1 million of them. What do you recommend for best pricing to store JSON files?
It's going to depend a lot on the data structure and what exactly you are storing. Because as you can see here, so for that it would be Azure AI Search.
Yeah, but
Oh.
Yeah. So my question was, what's the best price to store the vector arrays? Is it in Cosmos DB or is it in a storage account? Or
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Sorry if I
So
was
I get what you're saying. So basically, where you are storing the data before vectorizing, that one. That's not an easy question to answer. And it's like customers, what's the best database and what's the cheapest one? There are so many considerations on that. So it's not an easy answer to.
Fair enough. But just a question.
Yeah. One thing that I would consider, yeah, I don't know. It was a combination of if you want to archive the data or for how long do you need the data? Because, for instance, I would recommend storage account where you have a lot of files, but maybe you need some files for a while, and after that you can archive them. So you are going to save a lot of money on that. With database is just a regular database. So there are different considerations on the data storage part. Yes.
So you showed how it should behave, but 3 months ago there was a popular Twitter case that someone actually tricked or hacked or whatever you can call it a Chevrolet shop that sells cars in US,
Yeah.
and got it to say that he could buy the car for $1. Is there a possibility to bypass this solution?
If you think about it, it's how you design it. Because it's not right and all the steps. You are going to do the validation in those steps. For instance, when I did the retrieval of the documents, I have some code that I'm executing. So you are going to think about those scenarios and those edge cases and add the right code to avoid those. So you need to think about how the model will behave, what are the scenarios that I'm allowing, and yeah, all those considerations. So if you are allowing it, yeah, but it's something that you need to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do. Pizza is over there. It's
Yes,
getting
I can
cold,
stay
so,
between you and pizza.
So thank you, Simona.
Thank you.
And yeah, please enjoy pizza, grab a beer or cola, something. And hopefully see you next time at Global Azure.
Yeah, and if there are any questions, just reach out and we can talk.